Let's build a new site now. It'll be based on the one I'm looking at, but we'll start by going up to File, New Site. And I'm going to stick with the fixed width for now. And we'll set 5 columns for our guides. And I'll keep the default page width at 960 and the gutter at 20. And actually we'll leave everything the same except the resolution. I'm going to anticipate that this would go on Retina display, iPads, and potentially iPhones. So I'm going to set it to high DPI. And I'll just click Use High DPI. Now the one consequence of that is that my images will be larger because they'll be double the resolution. And then I click OK. And I'll actually do a Save As right now. I'm going to call this website underscore 01B. Hit save. Now I've got a default home page and a default masters page. I'm just going to lay out the pages that I anticipate using, and then I'm going to put the navigation on the master and a footer on the master because that will be persistent on every page. So basically anything on the master is going to show up on these pages based on the master. And yes, I can have more than one master, but in this case I'm only going to use one. So I'll just start, I'll keep the first page called home, and you add pages by clicking on the little plus sign. So a page at the same level, I could click on either side of this. I could click down below for a page that's supposedly coming off of that page, but let's just stick to the one level here. I'll add that one, and we'll call this one Beer 1. Then I'll add another one, and I'll call it Beer 2 because I'm using some beer images and a beer theme. Hit Enter. So I'm going to have 4 altogether. Beer 3. And hitting the plus sign to create my 4th page. Beer 4. You can name them anything you want. So I've got home, beer 1, beer 2, beer 3, and beer 4. Now let me create a little navigation bar that's going to go on the master. So let's double click the master and we'll actually look at the basic layout of the page. Here are the parameters of my page, this blue line. This is kind of like the safe zone here. And this section divided by these arrows is the header, and below here is the footer. These can be adjusted. And they can be expanded. I could expand the page down further, making that footer wider, or expand past the footer, showing some of the background of the browser. But I'm actually going to keep the footer flush with the bottom, and I'm going to lower that height a bit. And you can do the same for the top. So what I see outside of these lines on either side here is actually considered the browser fill, the browser background, and everything inside of this square is the page fill. Now just to demonstrate that, I'll put a color in temporarily for the page fill. And you can see that is the page. Let me go back and turn that fill to none, and we'll move ahead from here. Now once you're on a page, you have a lot of these menu items, and we're actually going to use a widget right away for creating a menu. So let's go over to the widget library, and we will put that in the header. You can see various categories here. Let's open up menus, and I do want it to be horizontal. So I'll grab that, and you can actually see a preview of what you're getting, and you can go in and edit all of these features. I'll grab that, drag it into the header, let it go. I'm just going to close this window here, and then I'll grab it again and reposition it, and I'll just snap it to the end of the page, and I will resize it to reach the top of the page as well. And maybe I'll just drag it out to there. And I'm just going to change that to Arial. And I'll make it a bit bigger. 16. And I'll click on the what looks like the background. Actually, I need to go back to the arrow tool here. I'll click on what looks like the background. And we're going to put in, I guess I'm going to use black actually. But I'm going to show you how you can change the various states, appearances of each of these buttons. Now when I change one, they all will change in unison. But if you look up here under menu items, we've got normal, and if I click on it, I can see the 4 states. So if I highlight rollover, for example, and I change that background fill color, I'll just choose this red here. When I go back to my states, I can see the rollover will change red. Now I'm going to change the mouse down and the active to red as well. So I'll highlight those, select that red chip, go down to active, select that same red chip. Okay, and I can click away to lose that menu, and I'll just save my file. Save site. And right now I can simply preview this by clicking here, and I can see the rollover. And if I was to click on it, it would go to that page. Now I have no content, so it's a little hard to tell which page I'm on, but the button does tell me. The active state tells me which page I'm on. There we go. So I'll go back to design view. And let's add a footer in here. We'll just do a text element. So I can go up to my text tool, and I can click and drag. And we'll just snap it here, I guess. And I'll just type in Option G for the copyright symbol, 2016, and I'll get you to put in your last name underscore first name. You can highlight that text, format it. I'm going to center it. I'll make it 16, and I'll need to type that in, or I can use the little arrows here. And I'm going to center it on the page. So I need to go up to the align here. Now down here in this bottom right corner, I have to establish what it's going to align to. And I actually want to align to the content area, not to the selection. So align to content area, and then center it. And now it's centered to the page. I can collapse that menu and save my file. Now I'm going to go back to my plan view, and I'll just put something unique in each page very quickly here. So maybe I'll put in, for now, I'll just put in a number for testing, and then I'll delete it later. So I can double click on here, and I'll just put it in this upper corner. And I'll type a 1, and I'll make it large. And I can do what's copy, and copy that. And then I can go to the next page. And I can do what's called edit, paste, and place. And it puts it in the exact same location. And I'll change that to a 2. And then I'll go back to the third page, beer 2, edit, paste, and place. Change that to a 3. Oops, I didn't mean to move that. Let me undo. Double click inside here, highlight it, change it to a 3, hit my tab key, or go back to my selection tool. I'm just going to save as I go here. And I'll go back to my next page. Go to page, I hadn't used this before, but let's try it here. Go to page 3. It's a little confusing because this is going to be labeled with page 4, but edit, paste, and place. This is number 4. And then finally, I'll use that same again. Go to page, pull down menu, go to that last page, beer 4, edit, paste in place, and put a number 5 in. This is just for testing purposes so that when I test my menu, I can see that different number that proves that I'm on the different page. So let me just save that. And we can start from the home page. I'll hit preview. You can see the number 1. So when I hit beer, it goes to that page, then to the next page, and you should see the number change for each page representing what's on each page. So there we have our navigation system up and running, and all our pages are actually built. We just need to populate them now with content.